horse race all season for the second division title. John Ward's Bristol City up against Graham Taylor's Watford. The question is, are City destined to go up as champions? Oldham stand between Bristol City and the top of the table tonight, and Oldham badly need the points themselves after an alarming dip in form. These two should have come face to face 3.5 weeks ago, but the heavens opened that night and didn't close until the next day. End result, a very waterlogged pitch. And that's why we're all back tonight, and fortunately the conditions are rather more conducive to a game of football. It's Oldham Athletic, currently 14th in Division 2, against second-placed Bristol City. Good evening. Barring a nightmare end to the season, Bristol City will be celebrating promotion at some point in the next 6 weeks, but their desire to go up as champions shouldn't be underestimated. A month ago, Oldham were in the thick of the promotion race. However, they're now nearer the bottom than the top of the table, only 6 points clear of the drop zone, so a win for them tonight is essential. All in all, plenty to play for. My guest this evening is the Northampton manager Ian Atkins, whose side are currently 5th and looking good for a playoff place. Ian, first of all, do you agree that Bristol City and Watford are now guaranteed the 2 automatic promotion places?
I think if Bristol win tonight, yes. I can't see anybody catching them. I thought Grimsby might at one stage, but I think they've got too many games, and being at Wembley as well, I think they've got too much to catch up.
And is it overstating the facts to suggest that Oldham are now in relegation trouble?
They've got problems if they're not careful. I mean, they've won 3 out of 17, which ain't good going, and if Bristol beat them tonight with Plymouth, Luton, Brentford all now winning at the bottom, suddenly like they could claw those back quite easily.
Can you put your finger on why they've started to struggle so badly?
I think obviously they've sold players, and they didn't help on deadline day with Sinnott, McCarthy going and Barlow, and I think probably they've still got the problem of being in the Premier League and have to get rid of players basically for financial reasons. Well,
let's have a look at the table from bottom to top. And Burnley find themselves where they've been for a large proportion of the season. They do have games in hand. Then come Southend and Carlisle on 41. Luton have been showing signs of improvement but remain in the drop zone. Brentford, Plymouth and Wigan just outside it on 45. Then come Walsall, who are at home to Gillingham tonight. Wycombe, Preston and Oldham on 50 points. And a win for Oldham this evening will lift them to 10th, so their season could still go either way. Top half sees last season's FA Cup semi-finalist Chesterfield still in with a chance of the playoffs. Likewise, Bristol Rovers. Gillingham can go as high as 4th if they win tonight. It rather depends on what happens at the racecourse ground, where it's 4th v 3rd, Wrexham at home to Grimsby. Those two sides still in with a chance of catching the front two, albeit a very, very slim chance. And a win for Bristol City in our live game, and they will go a point clear of Watford with a better goal-scoring record. The championship odds, well, Watford are still the favourites, 11 to 10 on. Bristol City 6 to 5 on. Grimsby 16 to 1. Wrexham the outsiders 100 to 1. Northampton not quoted. Ian, what do you make of those odds?
I think they're about right. Say Grimsby have got an awful lot to do ourselves underneath Wrexham. I don't think we'll catch the front two.
Well, Bristol City's most recent outing was at the weekend away to Wycombe. They were without their leading goal scorer Sean Gota, who they sold on transfer deadline day for $400,000 to Man City, and Colin Cram came good at just the right time, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I mean, they're going to miss Gota. He's got 18 goals, but Cram's one of those players that say on his day he could be a world beater, and the way he's took that away, like, hopefully they won't miss Gota.
Defensively, they perhaps will be a little unhappy.
They did. I mean, I think Oldham may cause them problems tonight, especially if they get the ball over the top with Littlejohn and with Hodgson up front as well, so they've got to be very careful with the ball over the top.
But Cram was the man near the end, cross from the left, against some rather dodgy defending.
Yeah, Tinian, I mean, they're going to miss Bell tonight. Bell's out injured, so they're going to miss him, but Tinian will provide the crosses out on the left. And I say Gota coming in there, and don't underestimate Roberts either, who they've got on loan from Wolves. Well,
Oldham have won only 3 of their last 17 games. At the weekend, they were away to strugglers Brentford, and they lost again. Brentford easing their situation.
Yeah, that's I think Brentford will get out of trouble because they battle. But that just shows you they're one long ball, and the 2 centre halves have got caught square, the fullback's not in sight, and that's where Roberts will come into his own tonight.
Second goal is a terrific finish from a man who has a very good record in the lower leagues.
Oh, brilliant, Robert Taylor. It's a terrific finish. That'd be, if that was in the World Cup, that'd be like world-rated goals. A terrific finish.
Absolutely. Oldham did pull one back near the end, but they're now without their goal scorers, who they've relied on earlier in the season, and it's going to be... I mean, where are the goals going to come from?
I don't know. I mean, looking at it, Hodgson's going up front, and he's played up there this year. I've had a couple of times, and basically he'll just get up there and head the ball, and I think now they've got to rely on Little John. And I say, with the sides underneath pushing as well, they've got to be careful. If they lose this one tonight, they could get caught in the dogfight.
Let's hear from the two managers in a moment. John Ward, but first, Oldham's Neil Warnock.
Neil, I saw in your programme notes you feel that the playoffs are out of the question. What does the rest of the season hold then?
We've got to consolidate now. We've obviously brought quite a few youngsters into the team, so it's given them a little bit of help for next season. But I think now it's a matter of trying to get a bit of pride back in the last few... We've lost a lot of players over the last few weeks, and just hope that now the last 8 games we can keep our home record intact.
Now, your 2 leading scorers have gone. How frustrating has that been for you?
Well, it's not made any better by the fact that Jepson and Andy Ritchie's both injured as well, so we've lost 4 strikers in the last fortnight. But I'm sure my delicate centre-forward, Doug Hodgson, just talking to Clive Allen in there, I think, and I said to him, you'll see some delicate touches from Doug tonight, so hopefully he can bring the best out of AD.
What do you make of Bristol City, finally?
Well, they're where they are because they're consistent, and it's simple as that. John's done a fabulous job. I mean, the club's a massive club, and they've spent quite well, and I'm sure they'll be there with Watford next season.
John, here you are on the verge of promotion. How disappointing has it been to lose your leading goal scorer?
Well, not only have we lost the leading goal scorer, Sean Goater, Steve Torp is out with a fracture till the end of the season, and Sean Dyche, who came in as club captain's also been missing for some time. So we've had disappointments before, and we've stuck in and got over them. I mean, Saturday was a big game for us going to Wickham without Sean, and we put Sean McCarthy in from Oldham on loan, and that worked very well with Colin Cram up front. Tonight, again, we've got a change up front with Jason Roberts coming in and Jim Brennan coming in at left back. So we've had disappointments and changes before, and we've coped, so I'm looking for us to cope tonight.
And nonetheless, many people will expect you to win tonight. How aware are you of Oldham's superb home record?
Well, very much aware. I mean, that you're just saying that people expect us to win. I'm not sure they will, because they'll look at Oldham's record. They've only lost once here, and only a couple of weeks ago they drew with the leaders Watford, who I think are the best side in this division. So we expect a very tough game tonight. I don't think it's a formality at all.
But an added incentive, you can go top.
Oh yeah, it's a great incentive for us. We've been top, I think, on 3 occasions, but just by goals scored. We've never actually nicked Watford on a point, and tonight, if we could win tonight, then obviously we go a point clear, and that'll be sort of nice leading up to it, because we've got Watford to come and play us yet.
Thanks a lot, John.
Oh, my pleasure.
The thoughts of the two managers. Which one will be victorious tonight here?
I think Oldham. I think they may be a little bit too strong for Bristol, especially with Bristol missing Goater and Bell as well. And I think they'll get the ball forward very quickly, get in the box quickly and rely on set pieces, and I think they might just nick it.
Thanks for the moment. They have a good home record. Let's see what happens. Time to join our commentators, who are Clive Allen and Rob Hawthorne.
And in a week with a League Cup final at one end and the FA Cup semi-finals at the other, football's nostalgics will remember the start of the decade when Oldham were involved in both, but it's a different Oldham now. They've been forced to play 3 men aged 20 or under in their back 4 tonight. Carl Serrant, rated by manager Neil Warnock as the best English fullback outside the top division, returned after a 16-match absence with cartilage trouble on Saturday, but lasted just 45 minutes. He's out tonight. Steve Redmond is left out, so Sean Garnett at 28 will hope to bring his experience to bear on 19-year-olds McNiven and Holt, and Danny Boxall on loan from Crystal Palace, who's just 20. One of Warnock's options in defence would have been Doug Hodgson, but he's playing up front.
Yeah, Oldham will play a 4-4-2, and I think you can look at the boy Rush. Matthew Rush, I played with at West Ham, certainly has pace, hasn't fulfilled early promise that he showed, and in Hodgson and Littlejohn, the little and large combination. Hodgson, the transformed centre-half, playing centre-forward, in there to hold the ball up and try to be dominant at set pieces, and Littlejohn alongside him, the pace that could be the all-important threat to threaten Bristol City.
Well, City are recovering from the reluctant loss of Sean Goater to Manchester City. Sean McCarthy, whom they borrowed from Oldham to tide them over for the rest of the season, can't play in this fixture under the terms of that agreement. So Jason Roberts, a nephew of Cyril Regis and on loan from Wolves, is his replacement. And another blow for City, the loss of Mickey Bell, who tweaked his knee in training. He's not risked, and Jim Brennan replaces him at left back.
Yes, Bristol will come into the game playing a 4-4-2 formation as well. A team full of confidence, and what a great carrot if they win tonight to go top of the 2nd division. John Ward has a great rivalry with Graham Taylor at Watford, and he would love his team to make this game in hand count. Roberts and Cram, 2 superb goals Saturday. They'll be looking for him to carry on good goal scoring form as he replaces the departed Sean Goater.
Well, looking at a man named Taylor, but this is Sean Taylor, who's within the Bristol City ranks, who are hoping to overhaul Graham Taylor's team at the top of the 2nd division. Bristol City, in terms of securing promotion for themselves, 3 wins short, perhaps hoping for a draw between the clubs below them tonight, Wrexham and Grimsby. But very much on their minds the promotion battle and what they can do for themselves here at Oldham. They know they're in for a tough task against a side that at one stage were looking towards promotion, now looking over their shoulders. The whole game here at Boundary Park, Oldham against Bristol City, coming up. The two managers on duty here tonight were in opposition at Wembley. John Ward led the other Bristol side, Rovers, to the second division playoff final, but Neil Warnock waved his Wembley one to conjure the third of his 4 playoff wins on English football's greatest stage, with a Huddersfield side that included that day Lee Duxbury. And Duxbury is one of the 4 players in the Oldham team to have followed his former manager to Boundary Park. Another of them, Adrian Littlejohn, their only deadline day incoming over the ball as Oldham prepare to get this match underway. It's 3.5 weeks since a rain-soaked Boundary Park put paid to any hopes of this game being staged, but really conditions couldn't be more perfect for tonight's game, and Rickers immediately tries to give Oldham a positive start. But Roberts is here for Bristol City with the support of Tinian, who's looking for Gregory Goodridge, and we may well on that left-hand side have to see Paul Reed doing a lot of covering. It's the inexperienced Andrew Holt against the very quick-footed Gregory Goodridge. This is Tinian. Bristol City tonight in their change strip of white tops, black shorts. The header was from Cram. This is Roberts. And the clearance was by Sean Garnett. Sean Taylor, the heart of the Bristol City defence. Brennan. Jim Brennan, the late replacement for Mickey Bell. And he was hoping there to have won the free kick, the Canadian fullback who's come in for Bell, who actually settled this fixture when it was staged at Ashton Gate earlier in the season from the penalty spot.
Very early signs of the confidence that Bristol City have. They're prepared to get it down and pass it. A team that are top of the league, and as we say, full of confidence and prepared to play right from the opening seconds of this game.
This is Rush. He's gone for the target, and Littlejohn was angry that he was so ambitious.
Should have played into feet. Great position from Littlejohn, got advanced into the penalty box. That's where he wants a quality ball into his feet, where he then becomes in control of the situation. Poor cross from Matthew Rush.
Littlejohn's incoming saw the departure of Phil Starbuck, one of 5 regular first-teamers to have left Boundary Park on deadline day. Littlejohn, who'd worked under Neil Warnock at Plymouth. Roberts foul by Garnett. And referee Dave Pugh is at least going to give him a stern talking to. Is it going to be the first card of the game already? Looks like it's just a cool-it warning.
Position here, Rob. This is where the managers would love that first early cross in with quality, give the strikers something to attack.
And it's played by Tinian. He has got a sweet left foot.
Yeah, Brian Tinian, I think, made the decision. He felt he could get it in this near post, whipped it in with pace, but keeper Keith Welch was across.
Brian Tinian, who scored that legendary goal in Bristol City terms when he knocked Liverpool out of the FA Cup at Anfield. It's a good jump by Hodgson, and it sent Littlejohn through. But for the makeshift strike partnership, that was an encouraging sign. Hodgson playing out of position tonight, up front, leaving the centre of defence perhaps depleted. But his touch there to set Littlejohn through will have given Oldham great heart. Holt in strong on Goodridge. This is Reed. Did well to keep it in, and Littlejohn could be through again. He's like lightning at the moment.
He's certainly out to make an impression. Littlejohn, he's done that with his pace. Early signs are, if they get the ball in behind the Bristol defence, he will cause some problems.
Bristol City here, though, stung into life. Goodridge. And he's done well again to go for the target, with Cram closing in on the goalkeeper, looking for possible rebounds. Hewlett here, and Roberts has stayed right on the last line of defence, but good defending from Garnett. And Scott McNiven. This is Rush. Duxbury. Cleared by Carey. McNiven. Nice idea to set Rush away. And he's got Brennan scampering back. Hodgson has gone into the middle. Littlejohn's there as well if Reid can pick either of them out. He's had to find McNiven instead. Hodgson to put the goalkeeper under pressure, and he put him under sufficient pressure to concede the corner.
Good work by the big centre forward. It was a sloppy cross, but coming down under the crossbar. Again, the pace was evident from Rush. When the ball pops back from Reid, it's really thrown in. Not the best of crosses, but the big centre forward made something of it.
Matthew Rush with the corner. Barnett was making a concerted effort to get in behind the goalkeeper, but good handling by Welch.
That's good keeping, Rob. When you come under a little bit of pressure like that, that first early corner gives great confidence to the back four. Keith Welsh coming, claiming, safe hands, certainly instills confidence in everybody.
Experienced goalkeeper Welch, and Oldham trying to put him under severe pressure in the opening exchanges in this match. Littlejohn here, looking for Hodgson. Reid challenging. It's been a hungry and determined start here by Oldham, who've certainly done themselves a lot of favours at Boundary Park this season, despite the problems that they've been having away from home.
As the cross comes in, the big man's in there again, making his presence felt. Brave header from Carey. Takes it really on the back of the head. Nasty clash of heads, and hopefully he'll get up from that one. But again, that pressure from Hodgson causing problems. Defenders will know straight away. The early indications that he's giving them is they're going to be in for a tough game this evening.
Hodgson has certainly put himself about a bit in the opening 7 minutes of this match, and Carey at the moment is feeling the effects of that. Lewis Carey, a player of great promise, one of the 3 Bristol-born players in the squad tonight, although he's got a grandmother from Paisley, which enabled him to play for the Scottish under-21 team last week against Denmark. But Neil Warnock watching from the bench and hoping for a victory to keep his team's collective head above water. They've lost only once here during the course of this season. That was to Blackpool, and it was a former Bristol City player who settled the game, Junior Bent.
Yeah, they do have a good home record, and I think Neil Warnock has really sounded the battle cry earlier on today, saying that they must get a few more points, 4, he's saying, for them to be safe. And what a better way than 3 points against a team that's high riding in Bristol City.
Duxbury. Reid. Good work from Reid, looking for Hodgson again. Well, he's certainly been in the thick of the action.
He's the man they're aiming for, the big centre forward. He's obviously the target, but this time Reid jinxed 2 or 3 times, did delay the cross, and eventually when it came in off his right-hand side, a very, very difficult one for Hodgson to get on target.
Well, Hodgson probably wouldn't be playing in this role if either Ronnie Jepson or Andy Ritchie was fit. But Jepson's out at the moment with a hamstring injury. Ritchie's out possibly for the rest of the season with a calf problem. And Hodgson is proving something of a menace at the moment to Bristol City. That was Garnett. McNiven to take the free kick. Hodgson inevitably will be a target. Carey just watching Littlejohn. Back in towards Littlejohn. And the offside flag is up as Reid hurls it back in.
Headed back in by Hodgson. Littlejohn just gets the faintest of touches. A very delayed reaction from the linesman. Assistant referee there was very, very slow. Seemed to me that he was watching the ball before he put up his flag, and I felt it was unfortunate Reid to be called offside there.
Goodrich, good play. This is an incisive run, and it took a deflection which has wrong-footed the goalkeeper. And as it was flung back in by Tinian, Roberts just got on the end of it.
Great pace from Goodridge. Garnett throws himself to block. Excellent block, but it spins to the sweet left foot of Tinian. He missed kicks, and Roberts was nearly there to side foot in from 6 yards. First real threat from City.
Tinian's corner, and the header over from Owers. Ten minutes gone, and the first warning bell that's been sounded by Bristol City. Striking problems of their own with the enforced departure of Gota. They couldn't really afford to turn down the £400,000 offer from Manchester City with his contract up. So they're having to make do and mend at the moment. Here's Littlejohn. He's taken it too far. The Bristol City manager actually came unstuck when he allowed a lone player to play against Bristol City earlier in the season, and it was for Ian Atkins' Northampton side that David Seal scored in a 2-1 victory. So Oldham not prepared to let Sean McCarthy face them tonight in City's colours. Here's Rush. McNiven here flinging it in. Hodgson will challenge.
Excellent pressure from the big centre-forward, but again the goalkeeper shows command in his area, comes and takes it cleanly, and again that will instill great confidence in his defenders. They know when these big crosses are coming in. Hodgson's already made it perfectly clear that he's going to go for everything, but Keith Wells showed great experience to come and claim, and again take the pressure off his defence.
Littlejohn left holding his head there after a tug from Sean Taylor. Brian Tinian. And that was an awkward bounce for Oldham. Cleared in the end by Danny Boxall. Hodgson came away with a lock. And Oldham have won the free kick. Dave Pugh, who was the man who had to postpone the original fixture when he spent a frustrating Friday afternoon here, testing the pitch every half an hour.
No complaints about conditions tonight though, Rob. Absolutely perfect. A little bit of a chill in the air now, but really fantastic. Surface is good, no excuses.
It wasn't always the best surface in their Premiership days, but certainly things seem to have been well sorted out now. Goodridge there trying to release Roberts. Owers. Cram.
Team growing in confidence, Bristol City. You can see that they've been under a little bit of early pressure from Oldham. They've weathered that storm, and now they're starting to get it down. Goodridge seems to be the threat on that right-hand side with his pace, and that's where a lot of the danger seems to be from Bristol.
Littlejohn. It's Rickers who's made the run. It's Carey who's subdued the threat and immediately releases it well to Cram. They were appealing for offside. Well, Hewlett had gone into the box, but there was a misunderstanding between Cram and Goodridge. Goodridge is clearly unhappy about it.
He wanted that early ball. He got into a great wide position. Cram turned back, and really, then he plays Goodridge out of the game. Needed the ball early so that he could attack the fullback.
Colin Cram playing up front alongside Jason Roberts tonight. Reed. Littlejohn. Here's Rush. McNiven just got there ahead of Tinian. It's Hewlett tracking back. Hodgson. Cleared in the end by Hours. And away goes Tinian. Oldham with plenty back to guard against the threat of Graham and Roberts in the box. But it's aimed towards Roberts, and it was a dangerous one. Holt left to deal with him. Goodrich. Hewlett. Tinian lining it up. Just too much lift on it for him. Well, John Ward tonight forced to use Roberts, who's on loan from Wolves, having sold Sean Goater to Manchester City. And I wonder if Joe Royle is on the hunt for more talent back at the club where he managed them in their heyday, viewing tonight's proceedings. Dare I suggest watching second division football just in case.
Don't say that, Rob, please.
Duxbury.
I think John Ward would be happy because it was a bright start by Oldham. They have weathered that early pressure. Oldham were prepared to put crosses in, put them under a lot of pressure. The keeper has been solid. Defensively, they've been sound. Haven't given up any clear-cut opportunities. And I think a team in their position will go from strength to strength because they are a team full of confidence. And I feel when they play games, they do know that they can score goals.
Adam Locke, a player brought in this season from Colchester, where he played at Wembley last season in the Auto Windscreen Shield final. Here's Locke again. Cram. Roberts having to work this one on his own. Boxall, the player closest to him. McNiven behind, providing defensive support. It's a good run from Roberts. Holt winning the tangle. Rush. Here's Littlejohn. Wins the throw off Goodrich. Young player Andrew Holt started 4 of the last 5 matches, just 19 years of age. Reed. And again. Rickers. Good work from Paul Rickers. Carry the player across.
Been very impressed with Carey. A couple of occasions he was threatened early with pace, but he's defended well. He's spaced off of people, hasn't got caught behind, and on that occasion Rickers knocked it out of his feet, but Carey matched him for pace to clear the lines.
Holt's long throw, a useful weapon. That one is cleared by Taylor. Rush. Welsh's ball. Keith Welsh's experience has been pretty vital in the opening 20 minutes. Over 450 league appearances now in his time at Rochdale and with Bristol City. Roberts punished for the foul on Garnett.
It's not the biggest of crowds here tonight, Rob, but what Bristol City have done well, they've silenced the crowd. I think that's very important early on. John will be delighted with that, taking the sting out of Oldham. They are a team lacking confidence. Bristol, I think, will be happier with the early encounters.
Just 1 win in their last 10 matches for Oldham. That was against Fulham. Lee Duxbury getting the only goal. But Boundary Park still isn't the easiest venue for visiting teams. Hewlett tracking back from Duxbury. Managed to hold the current leaders, Watford, to a 2-2 draw here. Laid off nicely for Littlejohn! Well, he's so sharp, Littlejohn. He quickly latched onto that ball from Rush.
Rush, great little flick inside, and that's where Littlejohn's at his best. Into his feet, split-second turn, great strike with the left foot, great power, just pulling it slightly wide of the keeper. But again, that's what Littlejohn thrives on, the right kind of service into his feet.
Littlejohn scored in that 2-all draw here with Watford. So it wouldn't be a bad start to his Oldham career if he could manage against the top two, but City putting Oldham under pressure here with Cran. No conviction behind the shot. Tinian. Rickers going down, but the advantage played. Ball from Duxbury going astray. Brennan cut it out. Tinian here picking out Goodrich. Cran. Goodrich. And he's left Rickers trailing in his wake. Showing some good skills as Goodrich. So far they've been unable to find that killer punch. Flag was up against Cram. Well, it's the 30th league meeting of these two teams. An Oldham victory would level things up at 12 wins each. But the form book suggests a victory for the visitors, which would take them a point clear at the top of the second division. Here's Duxbury, the Oldham captain. Rush. And Duxbury again. This is great build-up. Rush! It's a stormer of a goal! And it's the goal that Oldham needed to settle themselves. What a finish!
Absolutely sensational strike from Matthew Rush. I talked about the potential that this young man showed early in his career. This is what we're talking about. He doesn't do it often enough. Great 1-2 with Duxbury. He didn't think for a second. Really, that is an unstoppable right foot finish. Excellent 1-2. One touch, slid back from Duxbury. Didn't hesitate. Fired into the top corner. Didn't give Keeper Welch no chance whatsoever.
And the player who was signed on deadline day of last season scores his first goal of this season. And what a cracking strike with which to do it. Brilliant combination with the captain Duxbury and a quite sparkling end to it.
It's ironic, Rob, isn't it? He could have actually possibly gone to Gillingham before deadline day this week. And he's out of the side, comes on Saturday, makes a mark, and what a mark he's made this evening.
Rush given his head in the starting lineup today, having come on as a substitute in the weekend defeat by Brentford. Bristol City here looking for a response with Taylor, but Garnett is strong at the back.
Well, they do have this good home record, Oldham, so you can't be surprised that they were going to come out with all guns blazing. They certainly need the points. What a tremendous opener.
It's Tinian's corner, and Hodgson couldn't get there. Ours was just behind him, but it breaks fortunately for Oldham. And can they now build on that luck and the 1-0 lead that they have already established? Well, he scored twice in 6 starts last season, did Matthew Rush against Swindon and Norwich. Hodgson. And again challenging with Taylor. Rush here keeping the pressure on Brennan and forcing him to give it away to McNiven. Littlejohn. Suddenly they're strutting more confidently. The goal has eased that unmistakable air of tension that pervaded before the game.
And it's lifted the crowd too. As you can hear, they're getting behind their team. They certainly want to see them win and beat one of the top sides in the division.
Hewlett. Roberts. Oh, Boxall clearly pulling at his shirt. No hesitation in the award of the free kick there. Lock. John's on up ahead, but inevitably, the way he's flying at the moment, it's Rush they're looking to. Brennan stops him, but here's Littlejohn. McNiven here, looking for Hodgson, and headed dangerously back across the face of his own goal by Locke. And they clearly feel that Bristol City, having just gone 1 goal behind, are vulnerable to concede a second.
And it is amazing what a goal does, Rob. Just gives them a little extra yard of pace, a little bit more confidence as well. Quite openly now attacking Bristol, picked up the tempo of the game, and it's all been that man Rush with a spectacular goal that's lifted them.
Niven's free kick. Well, Rush was very unhappy at the way that that free kick was given away so cheaply. And right from the back here, can Bristol City get to the other end? It's Tinnion's ball, which has found Goodrich. And a good cross this time. Off the bar! Well, surely he wasn't intending that. But he certainly had goalkeeper Gary Kelly scrabbling back frantically. Tinnion's cross this time. And it's desperate defending at the moment from Oldham. It's a corner. Brennan. Defending was done by Rush, but Duxbury's given it away. Oldham panicking at the moment. Cleared by Hodgson. That was Brennan. High and hopeful. Goodrich. And it's gone across the crown, but the ball had actually gone out. There was some confusion as to whether the ball had been adjudged to across the line, but this one nearly crossed the goal line from Goodrich, this spectacular cross.
Yeah, I think he's looking to knock it right into the far post, right on the touchline. Maybe it took a slight deflection and a touch from the keeper. That's a tremendous touch. At the time, I thought Gary Kelly maybe lost his bearings, but that was an excellent touch at the end to push it onto the post.
Well done, Gary Kelly, to deny Goodrich. But that was a scary moment for Oldham, and in the wake of that, you could see the edginess just setting in. But there's a booking here for a Bristol City player. Gary Owers is the player being spoken to by the referee. Reid is the player who's grounded as a result of the challenge that's led to this caution. First yellow card of the game. Gary Kelly, who's played a vital part in keeping the scoreline as it is at the moment, preserving Oldham's 1-0 lead. Goodrich. Boxall, this is Holt. Carey, Locke. Cleared by Garnett. Carey up behind Hodgson. Goodrich. Hewlett. And there's Garnett's ball aimed towards Littlejohn. Throw into Oldham, keeping Bristol City on the back foot.
That's great work. Really was. Chased a lost cause there, got a toe to it, won a throw-in when really there was no way he was going to get anything out of that situation. Excellent attacking work from Littlejohn.
Goodrich. One blip that Bristol City have suffered recently was against Plymouth, Neil Warnock's former side. Could this be another blemish on their recent good record? Still plenty of time for them, though. 2/3 of the game left to overhaul the lead that Matthew Rush has given Oldham.
And I think Oldham certainly need more than one. I don't think that Neil Warnock would be happy with them just trying to defend a 1-goal lead, not against a side like Bristol City, who are always capable, especially on the counter-attack, to get back in this game.
Hodgson, Littlejohn. Reid is up in support. Tinian. Brennan. Roberts. The arms of Boxall just raised behind Jason Roberts. And he's pushed the referee's patience a bit too far. There was one previous incident where Boxall was tussling away at Roberts' shirt, and clearly in the light of that and this latest skirmish, the referee's decided to act.
Yeah, that's for the second time that he's got hold of Roberts. First time he nearly took his shirt off his back, and the referee gave him a chance, I feel, on the first occasion, but this time, no more of that. A second occasion, yellow card.
Tony Boxall, who was with the Irish under-21 side in the Czech Republic last week, on loan from Crystal Palace. That loan deal falls just short of the end of the season, but he's on a yellow card now. Locke. Reid to Rush. Duxbury, Rush. One of those unpredictable players, Rush. You never quite know what you're going to get with him, but he's certainly firing on all cylinders at the moment.
Well, Rob, I've got to say, I'd like to take some credit for that first goal, because as I spoke to him before the game, played with him at West Ham, as I said, just said to him, you know, Rushy, come on, give us a game that I know you're capable of. He did say he'll try, but I don't think he really believed that he was going to score one as spectacular as that.
You should be a manager with motivation like that.
Doesn't always work, Rob. I played with him and couldn't motivate him.
Here he goes again. Duxbury, Littlejohn. He's left it for Lee Duxbury to take the throw in. Aim towards Garnett. Roberts clears, knocked back in by Reid, and Taylor's clearance, Garnett's there, blocked by Brennan, corner.
Good pressure, couldn't clear the long throw, it was bobbling around, headed back in from Reid. It was Sean Garnett, it dropped to and fired it in, but good defensive work from Brennan, threw himself in front of the shot to block and spun away for the corner.
Garnett has stayed forward for the corner. Holt is in there too. He's a pretty powerful presence in the air. Rush. Knocked back in by Garnett. McNiven. Good play, Garnett. Well, it's Rush they would have really wanted in this position, I'm sure, but Garnett doing his best to holding it up and doing all really that could have been required of him.
Good wing play, really, from Garnett, because it was running out for a goal kick. He was running out of legs, but managed to keep it in and drew the throw in.
Holt. Cleared by Tinian. Controlled by Roberts, but Rickers was quickly across. Jason Roberts, who, like his uncle, Cyril Regis, was nurtured at Hayes. Where Wolves picked him up from. He's had a little loan spell at Torquay this season, during which time he managed 6 goals in his 15 appearances. Holt. Locke. Goodridge. That's ours. This is Roberts. Goodridge turning away well from Duxbury. Well, the flag is up. Well, Matthew Rush scored in the last 2 victories that Oldham managed in the First Division, and he scored a quite spectacular goal here tonight.
It's great driving run from Duxbury, takes the 1-2 from Rush, one touch, slides him back in, and Rush doesn't hesitate. Really fantastic right foot drive, gave Welsh no chance whatsoever. That really is a superb opening goal from Matthew Rush, and he shows what he is capable of doing.
Revelling in the opportunity he's been given in the first team tonight, Rush. Had to get there with Rush pressing menacingly once more. Niven, Littlejohn, Rickers, Duxbury. Keith Welch, who was at Rochdale when Duxbury had a little loan spell there 8 years ago. Tinian. Here's Locke. Tinian here, setting Goodridge on his way once more. Oh, we've got a splendid weekend of Nationwide League football for you, concentrating on the top end of the 3rd Division. Peterborough battling to get into the playoff area again against champions-elect Notts County. That's on Friday at 7 o'clock on Sky Sports 2. And then moving to the top end of the 1st Division, Nottingham Forest bidding for an automatic slot against Ipswich, who now looks almost certain to be in the playoffs. It's a 12:05 kickoff, that one. Our coverage starts at 12 noon on Sky Sports 2. Oldham were 3rd at one stage of this season, but their recent horrendous run has seen them drop into the bottom half of the table and 10 points off the playoff area. The run into the season they've got is not bad in that they're facing a lot of teams at the bottom end of the table, but that in itself can bring problems with those sides battling for a cause.
I think the worrying thing, Rob, is if they weren't to win tonight, they've got games against Southend, Burnley and finally Grimsby, which could be a crucial game if they were fighting for their lives, and Grimsby fighting to consolidate a place in the playoffs. So games which could have a bearing on a lot of teams' outcome to the end of the season.
That last day match against Grimsby, really the only one of the run-in that's against a team from the top end of the table. Holt. Here's Littlejohn. Duxbury. Littlejohn. Good work from him. Has he taken it too far with Welsh coming? Good goalkeeping.
There's a threat with that pace again. He really is. Whenever he gets onto the ball, knocks it out of his feet, explosive pace, always going to cause defenders problems.
Roberts is away this time for Bristol City. Charged down by Garner, but still he goes on.
Great defending from the big man. Stayed strong, cleared his lines, but then inexplicably given away.
Garnett is the experienced figure around whom the Oldham defence is built tonight. Most renowned from his time with Tranmere, although he had a spell at Swansea before his arrival at Boundary Park. Another player who almost left the club for Shrewsbury.
I think he's just gone over to have a quiet word with Andy Holt there. He did regain possession, passed it to him, and he gave it away so cheaply. That's when you need to keep possession. Take the pressure off after some good defensive work.
Holt, who has the longest throw-in in the club. Hodgson, and Littlejohn's touch. Rush, who got the final header to it, and knocked over by Welsh.
Great long throw, it really is, thrown right into the penalty spot. The big man gets a touch. Rush in a dangerous position, fed off the flick on. Welsh watching it all the way and has to tip over right at the last minute. But a well-worked long throwing.
Reeves' corner. Cleared only as far as Duxbury. Rickers. Reeves skillfully away from Tinian. Forced to concede the throw-in by Garnett's presence. It's another good spell of concerted pressure right at the end of the first half from Oldham, who clearly don't feel secure with just the one goal in the bag.
How Neil Warnock would love his men to go in with a second goal just before half-time as well.
Duxbury had actually forced Hewlett down before his final effort. John Ward, who's come right to the bottom of the stairs. Fair bit of distance between he and Neil Warnock, but not much between the two teams in terms of just that 1-goal lead at the moment, and clearly he doesn't seem too worried.
Seems pretty happy, doesn't he, Rob? 1-0 down, away from home. Chance to go top of the league. Maybe he won't be the same type of figure in the dressing room in a few minutes' time.
He's just celebrated his first anniversary in charge of Bristol City, and it's been quite a remarkable transformation in their fortunes. They were a team in mid-table when he took over, and they reached the playoffs last year, only to lose in the semi-finals. After a bad start to this season, when they won only 2 of their opening 7 league games, it's been an upward curve ever since, including that great run of 8 successive league victories between the end of October and December. It's always the same, isn't it? Just when the finishing line is in sight, the nerves start to jangle. A little bit of uncertainty creeps in, and perhaps the only instance where that hasn't happened this season is with Notts County.
I think that's the thing. It's quite unexplainable at times why a team really running away with it, both Watford and themselves, so far ahead, then all of a sudden, you know, really shoot themselves in the foot in terms of just consolidating and making sure they end up comfortable promotion winners.
Well, Bristol City do still have Watford to face at home in the run-in, so John Ward will again go head-to-head with his great friend and mentor, Graham Taylor. Carlisle and Walsall also remaining in their home programme, with visits to Burnley, another of his former clubs where he was assistant manager, Chesterfield and Preston also to come.
I do think that Watford game could well be the one that decides the championship. I think the 2 teams at the top will certainly go up automatically, and what a cracking game that should be.
Hit Jason, hit Jason.
2 minutes of injury time is to be played as we pass the 45-minute mark. There's McNiven here trying to put Welsh under pressure. Could do nothing about the Matthew Rush goal, and has dealt with everything else very confidently, Welsh. Lock with the throw. Foul by Reid. Free kick given away in a dangerous area, which Oldham can ill afford. Tinian had 1 effort early in the game. Is he going to try his luck again, or will it be variation this time from the Bristol City ranks? Certainly plenty of options there. Going right across, and, straight past everyone. 5 players in there, and none of them could reach it.
And he's frustrated there, Brian Tinian. He felt that was good delivery. Flat ball, coming in, far post, and he expects players to be piling in on that, really attacking it. Bit dispirited Sean Taylor at the back post there, we saw. He probably felt that he should have taken a chance and thrown himself in there.
Duxbury. Rush. McNiven. Rush sold him a bit short, and Brennan has won the throw. Although the Oldham fans are clearly unhappy about that. Bowers losing out to Duxbury. Now can they strike a second before the break? Bowers and Taylor getting involved in a muddle. Hewlett. Bowers. Spreading it to Goodrich. Came with him just too hard to keep in. Tinian. Wayward one from Brennan that may just have seen Bristol City's last chance of a first-half equaliser go begging.
I think Neil will be delighted with the work rate of his team after taking the lead with that spectacular goal. I think he'll be delighted with the way they've worked. They've frustrated Bristol. They've stopped them getting their passing game going, and they go in really worthy leaders at half-time.
And that workmanlike display from Neil Warnock's Oldham side and that spectacular goal from Matthew Rush give Oldham a lead at the 45-minute mark, albeit slender, and you do get the feeling that they will need another goal to make their position more stable. But it's worth savouring again, this goal, for the combination play between Duxbury and Rush, who finished it off in scintillating fashion. A quite splendid finish from a man never really assured of a place in the starting lineup, given his head tonight, and boy, how he's responded. Oldham 1, Bristol City 0 at half-time.
Top line, all important. 13 attempts at goal between the two sides, 3 on target for Oldham, just 1 for Bristol City. They'll be a little bit disappointed about that. A couple of bookings in the first half. Gary Hours of City and Danny Boxall of Oldham has seen yellow. Action areas confirm what we know. It's been even stuff. Oldham with just a little more of the ball. Very open first half. Oldham with the advantage. The Northampton manager, Ian Atkins, is my guest tonight. Is 1-0 about right at half-time, Ian?
I think so. I think after the first 15 minutes, I thought Bristol City got the ball at the Goodridge and caused problems. But after that, really, they've been muscled out of it, and Oldham thoroughly deserved the lead.
Terrific goal after 23 minutes. Matthew Rush combining so well with Lee Duxbury. And you were saying to me right at the start of the game, Ian, that Matthew Rush, on his day, is a class performer.
I agree with Clive. I mean, we took Matthew Rush on loan to Northampton last year from Norwich. And on his day, he could play in the Premier League, but it's getting him right on the day, and that's lovely football, terrific football to play between the two of them. And
good finish, because he hasn't got much to aim for, has he?
No, it's one of them really, you'd probably say aim across the keeper, but he's gone for the near post, and it's gone in the top corner.
Do you think the City defence can blame themselves for that? They were ball watching just a little bit.
Yeah, they followed the ball, but at the end of the day, I think you say, well, it's good play, and you can't stop everything, and fair play to Oldham. That's a terrific play and a great strike. Well,
Bristol City have a very good goal-scoring record, and their best chance came shortly after that. Gregory Goodridge down the right. He hasn't scored for 4 months. I don't think he really intended that as a shot,
No, I think it was like a miss-it cross. It's one of them that can embarrass the keeper, and fair play to the keeper, Kelly. I mean, he's kept his eye on it and got a great hand to it. But I think it's ironic for the first 15 minutes, Goodridge had a lot of the ball and Holt was out there, but now he's been doubled up by Reid.
Down the flanks, City look dangerous, though, don't they? Down both flanks.
Well, I think they did in the first 15. Well, I think you look at that there, and you look at down Goodridge's side, and Reid's always going out there to Goodridge first, and Holt's tucked in, and it's killed Bristol a little bit. And I think on the other side, Tinian, if they give him the ball, McNiven's too far off him, and I think they've had enough ball wide, but really haven't been productive with it, and Oldham have looked probably more dangerous with getting the ball in the box. Good training ground routine just before half-time by the home side. Andrew Holt and his famous long throw. Hodgson has won so much in the air. Well, we said, I mean, he's there for a purpose, and he's win to win balls in the air, and I think with Sean Taylor as well, he's a little bit of age on against him now. It's a terrific leap, and Rush has done well again. He's got across the defender, and it's a terrific stop. Well, Clive Allen has said through the first half, 1 goal won't be enough for Oldham. You go along with that? No, I think I think Oldham fancy Oldham to get another goal. I mean, if Bristol start to push forward and Locke maybe going to support Goodridge, it's going to leave the space down the side. And I think with Sean Taylor at the back as well, and Brennan, I think Rush and Little John will cause havoc if they get the right ball into them. Well, Oldham have lost only once in 25 games in all competitions at Boundary Park, and at half-time they lead by 1-0. Remember, Bristol City will go top of the second division if they can win tonight. But at the moment, it's not going according to the script for them. Oldham are on the way to 3 very important points. We're back in a couple of minutes. Half-time, Boundary Park. It's Oldham 1, Bristol City 0. Came at Boundary Park. It came for the home side. Ian Atkins, the Northampton manager, is my guest tonight, and it is a terrific goal no matter how many times you look at it. Yeah, it's one-touch football, and to say the only thing you'd probably say is you'd probably ask him to put it across the keeper. He's gone from near post. Unstoppable. Matthew Rush, the star man so far. The question for Bristol City, where are the goals coming from? They've sold Sean Gota on transfer deadline day. Colin Cram, I suppose, is the obvious answer. Yeah, I mean, obviously with Bell being out as well, I mean, it's 28 goals between them, 2 players out. At the moment, Cram's really not getting a kick, getting a sniff, and don't look to be involved in the game, so he'd probably be a worry for John, really. Well, you went for Oldham before the start, and I gather you're sticking to your guns there, then? Yeah, well, I mean, notoriously, Oldham do like kicking down that slope in the second half, but they've done it in the first half, but I'd still stick to Oldham. Only 1 defeat in 25 games in all competitions for Oldham at home. Having said that, they've won only 3 of their last 17. Can they keep it going? Let's rejoin our commentators, Clive Allen and Rob Hawthorne.
Well, Matthew Rush's goal at the moment has put Oldham in the driving seat. Not renowned for the quality of their football, but that was a goal for the video archive.
Yeah, and it's amazing that he should do it on a televised game. He's risen to the occasion,
and what a way to do so.
It was a spectacular goal, yeah.
Let's hear from John Ward. He's with Alan Bentley.
John, what do you need to do to get back into this one?
We need to have a bit more care in the last 30 yards of the field. I think we've been in there enough times for an away side to have made something count, but we've been a little bit slow getting the ball in, or we've been a bit careless getting the final pass or the final strike at goal in, and we've got to do that a little bit better.
We saw the doctor in the dressing room. Any problems?
Yeah, Lewis Carey's just got a knock on the head, and obviously we've got to make sure that that lad's okay. The doc said he's all right to go out, and there he goes.
Thanks a lot, John.
Okay, pleasure, thanks.
So after that precautionary check, Carey lines up at the heart of the Bristol City defence. It was a clash with Doug Hodgson, who collided with the back of his head, and Hodgson himself is only just back after a broken nose, and such was the force of the collision. It's a surprise that he hasn't done that injury all over again. But I'm sure that Neil Warnock will have given his team a severe warning of what they'll be in for in this second half. Lewis Carey hoping to limit the damage that's already been done to the Bristol City defence with that first half goal from Rush.
Looks quite happy, Rob. I think, you know, the fear is that he might have picked up concussion after that clash of heads. It looks certainly all right, and the referee, the doctor, under no circumstances would he let him come out for the second half if there was any doubt.
Hawkesbury here trying a piercing ball to pick out Little John. Garnett. Reed. This is Adam Locke. Got beyond Sean Garnett, but McNiven is there to tidy up. Here's Roberts. Rickers has turned it out for the throw. Here's Goodrich. Reed. This is Holt. He's been ably supported in that position by Reed. Rickers. Rush. Cleared by Scott McNiven.
I think Neil Warnock certainly at half-time would have emphasised not to sit back, not to invite pressure onto you.
Roberts here trying to put Goodrich through, looking in support, but Roberts and Cram have arrived there now. Box all in the way. Locke has just taken it out too far. Throw to Oldham.
There's no doubt that Bristol, a team riding high, will certainly come out and go for the victory. They won't sit back, they won't surrender, and I think that that's one thing that Neil Warnock will fear. One goal, I don't feel, will be enough this evening.
Worryingly for him at the moment, it's Bristol City making all the running at the start of the second half. Although Garnett there has managed to cope comfortably with Jason Roberts. Little John, having been set away by Hodgson, rush up in support. Decided that he didn't need him. Hodgson. Tinian. This is Brent. Now the big question tonight was which dressing room this man should go in. Sean McCarthy, ostensibly an Oldham player, but currently on loan at Bristol City. I think did the diplomatic thing, called in on both.
Probably said hello to his mates, but was, I think, restricted from playing. Part of the deal was that he couldn't play against Oldham tonight for Bristol City.
We've seen that the long throw-in ploy of Holt has been a useful ploy for Oldham. So how will they defend against it now with Goodridge, the man in control? Taylor back towards the near post. It's cleared by Garnett. Good defending again from Reed. Rickers. Looking for the movement of Lee Duxbury. Duxbury playing it off Tinian, but it came off him last. Taylor. This is Carey. He's looking for hours, but it's gone straight to Rickers. Solid rush short. Colin Cran. And it's a good ball, it's Roberts. Defending again from Garnett, who seems to have been in the right place at the right time all evening.
Made some crucial interceptions, none more so than on that occasion. Roberts pulled away to the left-hand side of the box and well found by Cram, but Garnett was there again to make a timely interception.
And this is good play again from Rush, and a driven ball that really caused concern for Welsh. We watched with some anxiety, but it was Locke who got it away.
Rush doing great work down the right-hand side. This is a quality cross. Doesn't whack it, just really helps it in with a little bit of curve. Keeper can't come and claim it. That's when you want your forwards rushing in there, making an effort to get across that near post.
It's all guns blazing from Rush at the moment. Involved in this short corner routine with Reed. Rickers going for goal. Welsh was very confident that that one was going wide.
Short corner worked and Rickers was prepared to fire through the bodies. I don't think Keith Walsh saw too much of it. He just guessed that it was wide and at the last minute dipped and curled wide of the far post. Good effort, worth the shot.
Goalkeeper there forced to rely on his instincts as the route ahead of him was very congested. Good layoff from Cram. Hewlett with a chance to equalise. Now Goodridge, and he has taken the chance to equalise. Gregory Goodridge, the man on the spot. Bristol City 11.
You just sensed it was coming right from the beginning of this second half. Bristol City have picked up the tempo of this game. Goodridge hooks it into the box. Good headed on by Johnson. Touched by Cram. Hewlett takes the pot shot, well blocked. But when it breaks to Goodridge, he makes no mistake. Fires it in first time. Keeper's dived to try and save the first effort. Open goal for Goodridge. He fires in. And I think, Rob, nothing more than we expected, that Bristol should get back into this game.
Well, it had been coming, so it seemed. And Oldham have thrown away the advantage that they gained in the first half, and Bristol City here putting on more pressure. Garnett's experience called for again, but Roberts has got through and makes it 2. And the game has been transformed within 7 minutes of the start of the second half. Roberts scores his first goal for Bristol City, and the visitors can hardly believe it.
And it's just pure persistence from Roberts. His power and his strength. He brushes Garnett aside here, but then shows composure. Good first touch and fires it into the roof of the net. 2 minutes, 2 goals. This game has been turned upside down.
Well, this is what happens when you're at the top of the table and the luck is going for you. Contrasted with Oldham's fortunes at the moment. Great strength from Roberts, and on his full debut, he marks it with a goal.
Great little touch there after showing great strength, real composure to take it with his outside of his right foot and then lift it into the top of the roof of the net over the diving keeper. That really has turned the game on its head, and you've got to say that I think John Ward, he looked quite comfortable, quite confident just before half-time. Maybe that's the reason why. Had a lot of confidence in his team to turn this game around.
He actually looks a lot more anxious now than he did when his team were 1-0 down, but he clearly had confidence in his team to change this situation, and that they have done. And there was less than a minute between the 2 goals, just 40 seconds between the effort from Goodridge and that from Roberts, which has given Bristol City the lead here. The crowd doing their best to lift the spirits of a disbelieving Oldham team. But didn't we just say at the end of the first half and throughout the first half that 1 goal was never likely to be enough?
Well, never enough, and in particular when you have a team that have been struggling with recent form, you know that when games turn, slightly go against you, that the confidence isn't there within the team collectively although they got a great first half goal, got themselves in front, you always wondered if they were put under pressure whether they would crumble, but maybe not quite as quickly as it actually happened, Rob.
Well, Sean Garnett had been doing a manful job at the back in controlling a very inexperienced back line. Boxall just 20 years of age, Holton McNiven just 19 and being given a real education here tonight. Hodgson there, hacking away at Taylor to try and get the ball.
Pure frustration, Rob, I think. You see a lot of frustration in the way he was just trying to kick the ball from under Sean Taylor, although referee hasn't given a free kick.
Things were really going for them in the first half. Rush firing on all cylinders, things were breaking for Hodgson. Can they pick up that momentum again, or have they lost the thread? Reed's cross, Hodgson climbing again. It was a good leap from him, and Little John was pulling at Carey. Garnett's header away.
He was like a rock in the first half at the back for Oldham. First real occasion that Roberts has been able to brush him aside, and he showed great strength. You have to say, just like his uncle, Cyril.
Here's Cram. Garnett, who's bearing a heavy burden of responsibility at the back. Was clearly unhappy at the end of that tussle with Colin Cram, although it ends good-naturedly. Contest. Sean Garnett is having to be the rock-like figure at the back in the absence of Carl Serrant, who lasted just the first half of the weekend defeat at Brentford, and also a savage blow to Oldham, the loss of Richard Graham, who might just make a comeback before the end of the season. They are suffering through the loss of those players at the moment. Although they do have the experience on the bench. The advantage played there after the foul by Roberts. Good decision by the referee. Now under pressure from Rickers. Rickers and Duxbury really had the measure of the midfield battle in the first half and are trying to pick that up again.
Yes, they certainly need to get to grips in that area. I think Owers and Hewlett, as we saw, he popped up for the strike, which was blocked for the first goal. That was the furthest forward I think he would have been all night in really getting Bristol back into this game. But they've got to start to battle, start to get possession back again, Oldham, and try to get some pressure on further up the field. They have sank back. Bristol have capitalised on that, and now all of a sudden they really are up against it.
Bristol City looking for a return to the top of the second division. Oldham now battling against the odds, suffering their second home defeat of the season. Blackpool, remember, the only team previously to have won here. Little John. And he's won the corner off Lock. Boundary Park has often been an intimidating place for visitors to come to, and the crowd trying to generate that kind of atmosphere again, as the corner here offers them more possibilities, particularly with Hodgson in the attack. Garnett. And again Garnett. Brennan got it clear. Push by Sean Garnett there in the back of Hewlett. That's the hour mark as Boxall keeps a keen eye on Roberts. to dig that one out. Rickers has made a run for him down the inside left channel. Owls helps it away. This is Roberts. McNiven. Hodgson. All those sort of flicks to Littlejohn were coming off for him in the first half. Garnett here looking to keep Bristol City under pressure. No doubt about it, there'll still be a lot of work for Taylor and Carey to do.
I think definitely the threat's going to be there all evening with Littlejohn's pace. But what they've done, they've got closer to him, especially when balls have been tried to play into his feet in and around the box. The early signs were there. They've coped with that in this second half. And really, at the moment, they've held very, very firm and restricted any real clear-cut efforts and attempts from Oldham.
Hodgson up again. Cram breathing down the neck of Danny Boxall. Push by the City man. And how often we've reflected life can be cruel for a football manager. Matthew Rush gave Neil Warnock's side a half-time lead, and Warnock can barely believe the way things have turned round in this second half. And it's the manner of the transformation as much as anything else that's really affected Oldham. McNiven, Hodgson, Reed diving in, Duxbury's there as well. Bristol City defending with depth as Ours gets it clear and again relieves some of the pressure. Hodgson.
That's what's been disappointing in the second half. The little flick-ons from Hodgson, the aerial threats there, but he hasn't linked up with Littlejohn. And when they have broke up any play, attacking play from Oldham, they always look dangerous on the counter-attack. The two goals came very quickly from counter-attacking play.
And it was the fact that those goals came within a 40-second space of time that must really gall Neil Warnock, because it's completely changed the course of the game. Goodridge.
Little bit of fortune when it breaks for Goodridge, but he finishes with aplomb. Didn't hesitate, and then great strength from Roberts. Excellent first touch, and drives it into the roof of the net. 40 seconds, 2 goals, back in front. A team going to the top of the league.
The goal then for the moment rendered meaningless, and a very unhappy state of affairs currently for Neil Warnock, and it could be even unhappier as Roberts here finds Goodridge, who's in for his second. Good save by Kelly, diverts it behind for the corner.
There's that interplay again, and they work it wide to Goodridge. Pops up in the same position that he scored from earlier. Kelly covers the near post this time.
Tinian's corner went over Duxbury's head almost to Roberts. Holt good defending. Not such a good clearance though. Ours' eventual effort going wide. .25 minutes left in this match for Oldham to try and save themselves. Plenty of transfer activity can be expected at Boundary Park in the summer. With the goalkeeper having committed himself, and Welsh didn't collect, and Hodgson, it seems, might have made contact with him. Welsh was pulled away feeling an injury, took a blow to the face. Holt's cross this time, Hodgson was up for it, but it's Taylor who gets it away. And here goes Duxbury. Tried to play it into Littlejohn rather than have a go himself. Rickers. Hewlett on the burst for Bristol City. Roberts to his right. Cram calling for it on the far side, but this is Goodridge. Still Cram waits as Goodridge shows off his trickery again! And the offside flag was up as Cram made a useful dive for it.
Good pace from Goodridge, was prepared to take on the fullback, step over, and then as soon as he gets a chance to cross, whips it in. Cram had taken that chance, made that early run, just a yard offside. but you can sense that the confidence draining from Oldham. Bristol gaining in confidence every time they attack.
And Garnett's let that one go. Robertson again here, tried to chip the goalkeeper this time and just didn't get enough on it to lift it over Kelly. Suddenly Garnett, who'd been the bedrock at the heart of the defence, even his confidence seems to be suffering. Disappointing way to lose an offside for Roberts.
Game opening up as well, Rob, swinging from end to end. Oldham really have to take chances to try and get back in the game, and Bristol, I think, will be happy to suck them in and try to hit them on the counter-attack. Time and time again, we see them breaking out with pace, and time again creating chances.
And surely if City were to rattle up a third goal, that would finish off their opponents, spirited as they are. McNiven here. Cleared to Reed. Blocked by Locke. Half-hearted appeals for hands from Locke. The referee never really convinced, and Taylor now sets Cram away on the chase. Boxall scurrying back, and Kelly delayed his move for it, but got it just right. Holt. Cleared by Carey. Rickers looked to pick out Rush, but it's Brennan in the way. McNiven. Next goal in this contest, absolutely vital. McNiven here, looking to spark an Oldham revival.
It was a good effort from McNiven because Rush was wide. He could have slid it, but he decides, he uses him as a decoy, comes in on his unfavoured left foot and fires high and over. It just bobbled up, I think, as he struck it, Rob. But a good effort, prepared to get in there, prepared to take the chance and have a crack at goal.
Scott McNiven, whose twin brother David is also on the staff here at Boundary Park. And McNiven has scored one goal this season against Northampton. That was here back in September. If Oldham are to have any chance at all, then the next goal needs to be theirs. Here's Rush, who's given them one already. Brought down by Brennan. McNiven. Hodgson does get it on this time. Little John. The touch of Hodgson onto Little John, and one or two of the crowd felt that he'd been held back by Carey. Little John again. Rush can't turn away from Brennan. Good header forward by Duxbury. Rush again! And the goalkeeper equal to that one. Well, certainly not giving it up without a fight.
I just feel that if the two front boys can just maybe combine once, the flick on from Hodgson, the quick, sharp feet from Little John, if he gets good service in the box, that may be where they could get themselves back into this game.
It's 2-2 when Oldham played Watford. Can they get a repeat of that scoreline against Bristol City, or are City to take over from Watford at the top of the table? Jason Roberts has gone down, although clearly the Oldham crowd are happy at what they see as being delaying tactics.
Maybe he's taken a knock on the calf or a little bit of cramp, it's tightened up. I think the crowd are certainly frustrated. They don't like to see that. Feel that he's time wasting, but a young man who scored a spectacular second goal, I don't think that that would be in his makeup. He's not experienced enough to go down through no reason at all.
Well, he's being treated there by Buster Footman, the Bristol City physio. And Bristol City, incidentally, came today forgetting their usual music tape, and it was Buster Footman's that they had to play in the dressing room before the game. And it was all sing-along stuff, My Old Man's a Dustman and everything like that. So if they win here tonight, perhaps that's a tradition they'll keep.
I tell you, that's what they'll be listening to every game, especially if it takes them to the Championship.
You know how superstitious footballers are. Their eardrums will take quite a pounding from that between now and the end of the campaign. Hurled in by Hodgson, and Locke here under pressure. Came off Locke, corner.
Knowing what most physios are like, Rob, he'll take all the credit for the result tonight as well.
Rickers here, delivering the ball towards Matthew Rush. Couldn't find support, and he tried to get it to Duxbury. Cleared. This is McNiven. Garnett staying in the attack. Rush, again, not too much on for him ahead of him, so he looks back to McNiven. Cross cleared by Taylor. But they're stifling the options for Rush so far. Rickers, Hodgson. Little John this time has made his move. And Carey gets across corner. Still good pressure from Oldham.
You feel that he's the most likely man to get Oldham back in this game. But I'm very impressed with Lewis Carey. Took a bad whack on the back of the head in the first half. Suspicion of concussion at half-time, but he stuck to the task.
Hodgson suddenly pulled away and was a free man and couldn't make the most of it. But they have won another corner thanks to the efforts of Holt. Worrying moment there, though, for Bristol City. And there seems to be another problem here. This is Brennan being spoken to by the referee.
I think he might be cut, actually, Rob. Maybe facial or on the lip. And the referee's noticed that and automatically has to get the physio onto the field.
Well, it's normal that facial injuries are treated on the pitch if the blood flow can be stopped. And Buster Footman, who has to be the best named physio in the business, has managed to treat him. Hodgson went for it, and it was just gliding over his head. But Welsh here has looked very positive and looks towards Cram. From a goalkeeping clearance that City managed to find the net in the first instance. Good work there from Goodridge to put Oldham again under pressure. But despite the fact that Bristol City have turned this game around in the second half, it's still Oldham who are making the most of possession, and Neil Warnock, their manager, will be very disappointed that they haven't made more of it to draw themselves level.
They've had the possession, Rob, but really haven't created those clear-cut chances that possession like that should warrant. I think Little John and Hodgson will be disappointed that they haven't been given the opportunity to have any clear-cut opportunities at goal.
Well, Warnock has been renowned over the years as one of the great motivators of his profession, more used to battling in the playoffs, and has a great record at Wembley where he's had 4 successes in playoff finals. But the odds on them reaching the playoffs in the second division lengthening all the time, and indeed they're peering over their shoulders now at the teams below them. Goodridge, Holt sticking to his guns, losing his boot for the cause. Lock. Cram. And here's Hewlett. Box all in the way of Tinney. Rush with the throw. Left it instead for McNiven. Roberts up against Garnett. Proved a bit of a handful, but Roberts still seems to be struggling a little bit at the moment.
Still struggling, but tireless work running into the corners. They're the things that win away games like they're playing in tonight, and obviously take the pressure off the back four when they're up against it. With just a 1-goal advantage, it's great to have possession further down the field in the far corner.
Well, the indications were that when the transfer deadline day came with 6 players leaving Boundary Park, then the decks were being cleared for incomings in the summer. Although manager Neil Warnock himself is out of contract in the summer, so it remains to be seen whether he's at Boundary Park next year. But clearly the defence is an area where they'll be looking to bolster the side due to that inexperience.
I think the most worrying thing, Rod, is that they are slipping into maybe a relegation fight. Most important for the whole club is to work together now and just to gain those few extra points that's going to stave off that relegation fight and make sure that they stay in this division for next season.
Goodrich here looking to release Cram. Oh! Well, that could have been a catastrophe, might still be. Cram battling hard to get there against Boxall.
I think he's really unfortunate. He's charged the ball down, Kelly's driven it against him, and when it pops out, he really goes shoulder to shoulder with a defender. And you can see, it's tireless work. A no-hope cause, it hits him, but then he goes off after it again. Shoulder to shoulder here. Although the defender gets the toe, I think Cram's unfortunate to be called up for a free kick then, but I would say that being a forward, wouldn't I?
Forwards union sticking together. Colin Cram, who made 1 Premiership appearance actually for Southampton, but was Doncaster's top scorer last season with 23 goals, and he's managed 10 so far this season. Hodgson. McNiven with the throw.
Come on!
Brennan staying off the field. Taking a knock, or could it be a touch of cramp for him? Whatever, a breather at the moment, but Bristol City down to 10 men. Littlejohn. Here's Ours. Cram. Goodrich. Here's Adam Locke. Clearance was by Rickers. They've lost just 1 of their last 7 games, Bristol City, but they're 10 minutes away from securing a vital 3 points here at Boundary Park tonight. Here's Ours. Took a deflection of Paul Rickers. In the corner. Taylor coming forward for it. Goodrich the taker. And pressure there on Kelly, and he had to be rescued by his defenders. Gregory Goodrich.
Frustration setting in, Rob, with the home support. Just a few moans and groans now. Feel they just think that this game is slipping away from the home team.
Niven is there before Tinian. Spotted by the referee and his assistant, and Grayson Roberts is going to have a blemish put on his goal-scoring performance on his full debut because he's going to be shown a yellow card.
Bit of inexperience from the young man there. I don't feel that he could possibly have got away from that. As soon as you get hold of someone's shirt, referee and assistant linesman saw it. He's pleading his innocence, but there's no way he's going to get away with things like that. Garnett just got his eyes on the ball. He's intent on attacking the ball. Really, Roberts had no chance. As soon as he pulls his shirt like that, he's going to take a yellow card for it.
And while he was being cautioned, Bristol City have made a substitution. Jim Brennan has gone off, and on comes Tommy Doherty, who's an England under-18 player. He was in the squad for their match against Israel, but missed that with a hamstring injury. However, he was on the bench for the match against France in Stockport last week. Doherty now completes the trio of Bristol-born players, and graduates from the youth team here, Carey and Hewlett being the other two on the field. Here's Little John. Hodgson makes a move for it, and Doherty, for the first time in serious action.
What an important first touch that was. With a big man bearing down on him, faintest of touches, very, very important. Great first touch.
Not the tallest of players, but glad for his long hair to get contact with that. A reminder of the football action coming up for you this weekend on Sky Sports. Peterborough against Notts County from the top end of the 3rd Division on Friday at 7 o'clock on Sky Sports 2. And an earlier kick-off than normal for the match at the City Ground. The game kicks off at 12:05. Nottingham Forest against Ipswich is the match. And our coverage starts on Sunday at noon on Sky Sports 2. Cran. Here's Holt. Good ball, Rush. Niven has gone forward calling for it. Over Hodgson's head though.
Excellent work from Brian Tinian there, and immediately got into cover. Obviously Tommy Doherty just been introduced, so he got back there to double up on Matthew Rush. Gave him that little bit of extra insurance as he eases his way into the game. Good experienced work.
Well, Bristol City here could be taking themselves to within 2 wins of automatic promotion, and dependent on results elsewhere, they may not even need that. They're getting closer and closer to the finishing line and to appearing in the 1st Division next season. Flip on was by Little John, and that's gone for the goal kick. Well, it looks like a final throw of the dice here for Oldham, a double substitution, and 2 more young players coming on. Mark Allett on the right of your picture, Matthew Tipton on the left, who actually played a full game in the reserves last night against Sunderland. Little John is going off, and so too is Matthew Rush, who gave Oldham such a sparkling start to this game with a quite wonderful goal. But Neil Warnock and Ron Reid, his assistant there, deciding that the time has come for change. Allett here, who's just 20 years of age, a scoring substitute in the last home game against Watford, and they're hoping now that he can repeat the dose. And Tipton, who's in the Welsh under-18 squad to go to the Czech Republic next week. Oh, now there was a real clash there between Doherty and Hodgson. Hodgson seemed to kick out at Doherty after he'd been tackled in the first instance. And the referee, right on the spot to see it, has called Hodgson towards him, and that may be a reaction that provokes something serious here for Doug Hodgson. What is Dave Pugh going to do? The crowd awaits with bated breath. It's red! Hodgson goes for that petulant reaction to the tangle with Tommy Doherty. And a night that started so well for Hodgson, and as he seemed to be making an impact up front, ends prematurely, and all because of this. And he can have no complaints.
Oh my word, Rob. I thought the initial challenge, it was 50-50, but this is what he goes for. A kick to the throat, so dangerous. Referee, once he saw that, there was no question that he should leave the field. It wasn't the initial challenge, wasn't the initial clash, it was the reaction as he falls to the floor. The kick to the throat of the substitute just come on for Bristol. Doug Hodgson had no excuses whatsoever for that. That's dreadful.
Well, Doug Hodgson has had a miserable time against Bristol City this season. He gave away the penalty that led to the defeat at Ashton Gate earlier in the campaign for handball. He's been sent off here, and now Oldham are making a change late on in the match. and Steve Redmond is coming on. And also a change for Bristol City as Scott Patterson comes on to take the place of Jason Roberts. Well, Hodgson there, who's been sent off. It's the last thing that Oldham needed, the way things have gone for them tonight. And Warnock has taken off Scott McNiven, but he's shaking his head there in disbelief at the way things have gone so horribly wrong. Bristol City here have clearly bolstered their defence to try and hang on. We'll see what sort of an impact now the sending off has on the home team. How often has it happened in the past that a team has been reduced in numbers by the sending off of a player, only to stage a dramatic revival? Boxall, they've got to fling it into the blender at every opportunity now. Turned in by Holt. The appeals for handball as Garnett challenged. Cleared by Locke. Here's Hewlett. It's too long for Cram.
Just a little bit surprised with that tactical substitution from John Wall. Patterson's come on and played as a third centre-half. I thought that the way the back four was playing, they've been solid all evening. I just wonder if that invites that little bit of pressure right at the final few seconds, few minutes of the game. But really, it's been an outstanding defensive display by Bristol City.
And I think that'll be reflected in your man of the match, won't it?
Yes, for me, without a doubt. Lewis Carey, he took a nasty whack to the back of the head early on after a clash with Doug Hodgson. But really, he's been outstanding. Handled the threat and the pace of Little John. Really has been a super evening's work from Lewis.
So a bottle of champagne on the way to Lewis Carey a week after he was playing for the Scottish under-21 side, because he's the nationwide man of the match. I'm sure he's delighted, John Ward, with his display. Into stoppage time. Oldham down to 10 men after the sending off of Dougie Hodgson. The Australian can have no complaints for that reaction. We'll know that now, but it's too late. And Doherty, the man he reacted to, takes the throw and finds Cram. And there's a professional foul on the corner flag. Hewlett. Tinian. Cram was coming back from an offside position. Really has been the archetypal game of two halves, hasn't it? Oldham flying in the first half after that splendid goal, the combination play between Duxbury and Rush. And it's all gone horribly pear-shaped for them in the second half. With all credit to Bristol City, they've come to a ground where it's notoriously difficult to pick up points and look like collecting all three.
And that's why they're at the top of the league. That's why they're challenging for the championship. At the end of the season, when you look at results that have won you maybe a championship, this will be one that they would look back on and say, on the night we did a thoroughly professional job and certainly deserved all 3 points.
Sent to the first division in John Ward's nostrils, and he's looking as relaxed now as he was, surprisingly enough, at 1-0 down in the first half. Clearly he had confidence in his players all along. Flicked on by Garnett. It's Patterson who's got that one clear. There are 3 minutes of stoppage time to be played. Whether that's 3 minutes on top of the 2 we've already played remains to be seen.
I thought that was supposed to make things clearer, Rob.
Here's Boxall. Can be no resting on their laurels here from Bristol City. Hallett and Tipton will be posing all sorts of questions given the opportunity. Garnett. There's Tipton trying to feed it through towards Rickers. More frustration and another substitution, it would seem, from Oldham on the cards. Their final substitute to be used. And Colin Cram, the player who's been taken off to allow for the introduction of Scott Murray.
Running the clock down, Rob. Running the clock down.
First came to prominence in the Highland League, had a spell with Aston Villa before his signing this season. There's his first touch. Duxbury. Plenty of Bristol City players back there, but Tipton's a tricky customer given a chance. And he's got a bit of self-confidence about him. Give it away to Tinian. And it's a good ball played through to Hewlett. Now can he find the gap? Just couldn't get enough on the shot. Mallet. Challenged by Doherty, who appeals for the throw, but it's given to Oldham. They may well have just half a minute left to get an equaliser. Can Duxbury provide for them with a long throw? Holt, the other long throw in taker, is waiting at the edge of the area. Aim towards Garnett, who gets a touch to it. Tipton is there, but it's cleared by Patterson. And Bristol City go a point clear at the top of the second division. And John Ward celebrates a victory that was hard-earned, but in which his team showed gritty determination after going a goal down in the first half. But really, Doug Hodgson's sending off just a couple of minutes from the end of full-time really encapsulated a night of grim disappointment, which contrasts with the celebrations felt by the visiting support from Ashton Gate. It all looked very different for Bristol City in the first half, when this quite splendid move between Duxbury and Rush ended with that scintillating finish from Matthew Rush. But 2 goals in 40 seconds in the second half, the first from Gregory Goodridge, and then the second from Jason Roberts on his full debut for Bristol City, earned the points for John Ward's travelling team. They've overhauled Watford's lead, they've used their game in hand to good advantage, and Oldham's night went rapidly downhill near the end. Doug Hodgson, no complaints about that, clearly lashed out at Doherty, and Dave Pugh, the referee, had no hesitation in showing him the expected red card. So John Ward's team now within touching distance of the First Division. A useful victory for he and his team to celebrate on the long journey back to the southwest. A happy journey it'll be. They've beaten Oldham here by 2 goals to 1.
Bristol City have come from a goal down to beat Oldham and so go to the top of the second division. 11 attempts apiece at goal, 6 each on target. Bristol City lost the corner count, but they won the match, and that's all that matters to them. 3 bookings. Gary Hours and Jason Roberts of Bristol City, Danny Boxall of Oldham, and the sending off Doug Hodgson, and he can have no complaints. It was an horrendous challenge on Tommy Doherty. Action areas in the first half were very even. Oldham with more of the ball, and that was the case throughout the 90 minutes. In the second half, Bristol City pushed dangerously, and they could easily have added to their 2 goals. We now have all the final scores from the second division. Walsall 1, Gillingham 0 is the result. Gillingham 7th before the start of play. That's a blow to their playoff ambitions. And as we've already mentioned, 4th v 3rd at the racecourse ground finished Wrexham 0, Grimsby 0. And this is how the table now looks. Burnley, Southend, Carlisle and Luton in the drop zone. Walsall stay in 17th place and Oldham stay 14th. But look at that, only 6 points clear of relegation trouble. Top half, Gillingham hoping to get into the playoffs tonight. They have to settle for 7th place where they started, but the big change is at the very top. Bristol City, the new leaders, a point clear of Watford, and we can now hear from their 2 goal scorers, Gregory Goodridge and Jason Roberts. They're both talking to our reporter, Alan Bentley.
Greg, first of all, judging by everyone's reaction, that victory meant a lot.
Yeah, unfortunately it meant a lot, because it was that second being top of the league, being by Watford not playing tonight with 2 points ahead. in that victory tonight. Saying that we're supposed to be a better team and we played a better football, so we're there now.
Does the championship mean a lot as well?
Yeah, it does mean a lot because any day you don't want to be second runner-up, you want to be the top of the league and being promoted as the first team, better team in that division.
That was the old game of two halves. What did the manager say to you at half-time?
Well, he just said to stick to the game that we're playing. We're playing great football. We're not playing very bad. We're goal down. We normally go down sometimes and we come back and win the game, so he just said stick to the game.
All right, bringing you in now, Jason. You must be delighted a goal on your first start.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was a good experience playing in the second division, and I think I've done all right. It was good to score.
What about your fitness? Just touch of cramp?
Touch of cramp at the end, yeah, both calves. The crowd gave me a bit of stick, but bothered.
And where do you see your future then?
No, I just want to play football. I mean, it was great playing today, so hopefully I can keep it up.
Anyway, well, Lewis Carey, who's already got a sore head, might have another after this. He's the nationwide man of the match. Greg, if you could take that in for him?
Yeah.
Well done, lads.
All right, thanks.
Is it his? Oh, I thought it was mine.
Lewis.
Argument about the champagne, no argument about the result. Another very good evening for Bristol City. The Northampton manager Ian Atkins has been my guest tonight. They came good in the second half, didn't they?
They did. I think John got everything right. I think they gave the extra 5 yards of depth at the back, and Oldham never got in behind them. I think they got in once when Russ put a great ball in. And the two centre-halves, Carey and Taylor, were magnificent. And at the other end, the two centre-halves of Oldham couldn't defend properly.
We expected an open game. You said it was going to be an open game, and we weren't disappointed, especially early on. Both sides threatened in the first 20 minutes or so, didn't they?
I think they did. It was probably a little bit too home for John, to be fair, and say little John got into it and Russ got into it. But as I said, they closed the game up second half and give that extra bit of depth.
This is Oldham's big moment of the night. Super finish.
Oh, it's terrific. I mean, it's lovely football. As I said, there was a little bit of space to play there. Second half there wasn't, and I say fair credit to Bristol City. They closed all the gaps up.
Matthew Rush is one of those frustrating players. When it's going for him, it's really going for him, but you can just see him disappearing at times.
Well, he could second half. As everyone said, Bristol City closed the game up a little bit and there was no space to get him behind, and he drifted out of it.
Gregory Goodridge came close then, perhaps inadvertently. It was to get better for Mr Goodridge in the second half. Here's the set-piece effort just before half-time. Hodgson always good in the air. Good save from the keeper.
Well, it was. I think the two centre-halves, Taylor especially, dominated Hodgson. I mean, then he got frustrated enough to get himself sent off. That's silly lad.
But certainly at that point, we thought, well, Oldham are more than holding their own against the side lying second in the table, and it could get better for them. It wasn't to be. Disastrous start to the second half. 2 goals in 59 seconds.
I think in the manager, you always say first 10 minutes of each half are the most important, especially when you're 1-0 up. But basically, as I said before, I mean, Cram suddenly started getting into it a little bit, and he's got a lovely touch. And they followed that up. Had the breaks as well, but that defensively is scandalous. I mean, the two centre-halves really have got caught square. And I said before the start, Roberts can be a handful, and he was too strong for Boxall all second half.
Jason Roberts with the second. Gregory Goodridge's first goal in 4 months, but Roberts here shows great power and precision.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't call it great skill, but he's got tremendous body strength, and he's one for the future, definitely.
And thereafter, the home defence kept opening up, and it was really a little bit lucky from an Oldham point of view that they didn't concede more.
That little bit of an experience, especially the two full-backs and Boxall as well, and Bristol City. So basically, I just thought they took one touch and stuck it straight in between and over the top of the two centre-halves, kept getting chances.
What about that challenge?
That's pathetic. I mean, in the end, I mean, Oldham are struggling enough as it is. And to do something like that is scandalous, and he deserves to get a 3-match ban for that.
They're so short of strikers, it's the last thing that Neil Warnock could afford, wasn't it?
Well, he would, and I mean, he's got to be annoyed with it. But as I say, Bristol City second half were terrific, and tactically they were spot on, and Oldham couldn't cope with them.
Are Oldham going to be safe this season?
I don't think they are. So I think if they get 2 wins, I think then obviously they can, but they've only won 3 out of 18, and it's all right saying you're going to get those wins with the games in hand, but you've got to go and win them. And at this stage of the season, it's not easy.
Problems for Oldham. The big question for Bristol City, will they go up as champions? We can now have a word with their manager, John Ward. Evening, John.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. How pleased are you with that performance?
I'm delighted with it. I mean, we've come to the side with the best home record in the division, and it's not an easy place to come and play, as Watford found a couple of weeks ago. And for us to come away with a victory is a major bonus. We'd have probably settled for a draw before the game, but to come away with all 3 points is superb.
You were 1 down at half-time, but you didn't appear to be anxious. It seemed as though you knew things were going to come good.
Well, you never know they're going to come good or not, but I was satisfied with the way that we'd played, and we did enough in that first half perhaps to have stayed in the game and been level. But we knew we had to just change 1 or 2 little bits and pieces. Interesting listening to Ian. He was right. We did close up 1 or 2 gaps, and we felt that we got pace and movement at the front that could give them problems.
1 or 2 surprises when Sean Goater left on transfer deadline day. How big a blow for you was that?
Well, personally, it was a big blow for me. I'd tried very hard not to let that happen, but you know, the club made a decision to sell him at the last minute. it, and fortunately for myself, we'd got Sean McCarthy and Jason Roberts in just to cope with that situation, and they both came. Sean came in Saturday and did really well, and Jason tonight, you've seen what he can do. So we hope we've covered that situation.
And how important is it for Bristol City to go up as champions in your mind, John?
Well, we want to get promotion. We're trying hard to do that. If we can't win it, I'll settle for second. But you can see tonight, and if you'd been at Wickham on Saturday, you'd have seen great determination from our players to try and get themselves this championship. And we've got 6 games to play now, and it's everything to go for us to make sure, first of all, that we get ourselves up, and then if the championship comes with it, we'd be thrilled to bits.
You'd like to get one over your big mate Graham Taylor, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, this is the first time we've actually been top on points. We've managed it a couple of times on the goals that we've scored, but to actually nip a point in front of him at this particular time on level games is a nice feeling. But there's half a dozen matches to play yet. We've got them to come and play us at Ashton Gate, so you can imagine that's going to be a big day for both clubs.
I think it will be. John, thanks very much for talking to us.
My pleasure, thanks.
And thank you, Ian Atkins. Briefly, are you confident that your side can stay in the playoff picture?
Delighted with the results tonight. We've got 3 at home, 3 away, but always difficult to beat at home, so we're very confident.
Good luck. Thanks for your company.
Thank you.
Some great football coming up in the next few days on Sky Sports. 7 o'clock, we're in Division 3 for Peterborough, whose promotion challenge has rather faded in the past few weeks. They have to win against Notts County, who are already confirmed as champions. 7 o'clock, Sky Sports 2 for that bit of action. And then on Sunday, it's non-stop. Division 1 action, Nottingham Forest against Ipswich from the City Ground. Midday Sky Sports 2. Remember, the kick-off of that game is 12:05, not 1 o'clock, as per normal. Then the FA Cup semi-final, Sheffield United against Newcastle at Old Trafford. All the build-up from 2:30 on Sky Sports 2. And Rangers and Celtic to round things off at Celtic Park, 5 o'clock, Sky Sports 1. Confirmation just coming in from the Reebok Stadium that Arsenal, with only 10 men, have beaten Bolton by 1-0, an important win at the top of the Premiership. But tonight, Bristol City have boosted their hopes of finishing the season as second division champions. Oldham's campaign is going from bad to worse. They're not safe by any means. From us all, it's goodbye.
Come again.